So, had a couple of things to talk about before he goes live. So apparently, the current DNI and the guy named, so you got John Solomon and Bill Plute have been compiling the election fraud information. They're the ones that are trying to push for it to go out. They gave Trump all the information, and the director of the CIA, John Ratcliffe, and the mainstream media, they're all against it. They don't want it to come out. So I would say that if this all starts coming out, and if they do like this one, his name was Wayne Allen Root, was talking about doing like a national emergency like they did with the wall for the border wall. I would say between now and midterms, we could probably see like the Summer of Love riots on steroids. You see what I'm saying? Because it's weird that the CIA does not want this stuff to come out. And then now you got China implicated in it. Iran's implicated in it. China makes the chips. That's all been proven. They made the chips. Then they send the chips to Taiwan. Taiwan makes the machines. And then the machines get shipped to Venezuela. Could that be why we've seen the Venezuela operation? And then you had Tulsi Gabbard. She got all the election fraud information before she got booted out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in play. Me personally, I have my beefs with Trump. But I'm going to tell you this. I would be shocked if we see stuff tonight and then we start seeing action and accountability. I would be shocked. That's just my honest opinion. I don't know how you feel. Up there he is. Hold on.
Good evening. Before we begin, I'm proud to report that our country is safer, stronger, and far wealthier than it has ever been before. We are doing great. Less than 2 years ago, we inherited an economic and social disaster.
We are not wealthy.
After the worst inflation in 48 years, the wide open borders with millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, including criminals of all types, and 11,888 murders, many of whom killed more than one person. We had transgender for everybody. Men and women's sports.
It's still happening.
Crime ravaging our cities. And the whole world was laughing at us as a nation, but not anymore. 2 years ago, our country was dead.
Okay.
Now, we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. America
it's
is
hot.
respected
It was
like
over
we have
100
never
today.
been respected before. We have more money being invested in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. More Americans are working today.
Please tell me this isn't another traditional Trump speech. Oh, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Please tell me we get more than just this shit.
And we accept it. The best in 6 years. The tax cuts in our great, big, beautiful bill are saving hardworking families thousands and thousands of dollars, like with the provisions, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
Unless you live in a CIA-captured state like Virginia, and we don't see any of those tax cuts and all those benefits because we have a communist governor.
Creating businesses. Our stock markets are at their highest point in many years, but we can actually say of all time. And your 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts are setting records every single day, the highest in history. For years, we
don't
paid
care
the
about the stock
highest
market.
price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. Now we pay the lowest price under my most favored nation's policy, because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly. Drug prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%. TrumpRx.gov, this will ultimately reduce the cost of health care. You have to
I like how he keeps talking about the stock market. All these people, you had Pam Bondi talk about the stock market. But let's be real. How many average Americans are benefiting from having money in the stock market? I sure as hell ain't. I know a lot of people aren't benefiting from having money in the stock market. So what does that matter? What matters is if the cost of housing comes down, the cost of living comes down, and it hasn't.
Of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start in life. So for that, go to trumpaccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child who'd like to sign up.
Oh,
Our previously wide open border.
and by the way, unless you guys read the fine print, those Trump accounts, they go based off of the stock market. So if you put all this money into these Trump accounts and let's say we see a stock market crash, you lose everything. It's in the fine print. And a lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of these paid influencers, they're not telling you that. If the stock market does not do good, those Trump accounts don't mean crap. I'm sorry.
And we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to
Then what
use it
happened
now.
with Iran?
We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You
Well, let's hear
have
it.
to trust
And what's
your
the
country
plan?
because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure.
But what is going to
One
be
where
done about
cheating
it?
and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the
Yeah,
system
back
we
to
have
the Great
today
Depression.
falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have
Just like you
dangerously
declassified JFK,
and
declassified
really
some of the
exposes,
Epstein
like,
stuff, and
levels
nothing
never thought
happened.
possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly, and that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people,
The CIA, remember I was telling you at the beginning of the stream, they did not want this press conference to happen.
about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country. A standard, very pat line that was divvied out.
Yeah, Bushcraft, you're absolutely correct. And there are a couple of mainstream news outlets that are not even covering this right now.
Other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government.
So no wonder the CIA doesn't want it getting out. They were colluding with China.
And pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture.
But Iran, though? Yeah, right. Yeah.
Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election.
Absolutely, Bushcraft. And my thing is, if they use this to institute the national security emergency, the same thing they did to get funding for the border wall. You remember, like, back then, the Democrats were trying to fight them, wouldn't fund it. So they instituted the national security emergency. He could do the same thing with the midterms because of this foreign influence. He could do the same thing. And my honest opinion, with you got the CIA acting like this, mainstream media is acting like they're acting. You got liberals fomenting right now because of this, because of what might possibly happen with the midterms. I would say stay on your toes, boys. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep on prepping, and just keep your head on a swivel is all I can say.
Incompetence of the people that was supposed to burn the bags. But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure,
we all knew this,
including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Tonight, we're publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups,
Venezuela,
have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it, made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases.
My thing is, this is stuff that we already knew. We knew the elections were rigged. People were selected. They were not elected. But what's going to be done about it? And the next couple of months will be telling. You got all this stuff coming out, but what's going to happen with it?
Tonight we're releasing all of those findings, and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026. This is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results on these terrible machines. Today, we are releasing documents.
Tina Peters has the receipts for it, and she was rotting in prison because of it.
To a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela, and that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020, and that's what they did. This reporting included precise details about methods to regime develop to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep they went. This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned, they couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names. submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls, and yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that.
Shout out Spencer Pratt.
Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were...
You nailed it, Bushcraft. Just like England, millions must go. Deport them all, revoke H-1B visas, close our borders for 100% for at least a decade, bring our troops home to defend our borders first. Amen. But at the same time, will we get that? Because now they're saying, because of this recent shooting, there's going to be even less deportations, even less ICE activity now. So I don't know, man. One could hope.
Be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working.
Does this mean overturn election results in these states? What about Virginia? Virtus Media, did you hear that, brother?
Watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work.
I see what you said, but I can't say that on stream.
Vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in this.
The question, though, I'm going to pause it real quick. So he said they're going to notify governors and senators of the election fraud stuff, right? But what if the elected governor benefited from that fraud? Like in Virginia, for example, a lot of people in this state, we all know that Scamberger did not win that election fair and square. There was so much fraud that was proven that came out of Fairfax County alone, and nothing was ever done about it. So I mean, you can notify them all you want, but if they're a part of the problem, nothing's going to be done about it.
It's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest. I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all
You're good, man. No worries.
But most importantly, addressing this crisis of election security demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act.
It'll never happen.
How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat.
And there's reports now saying that even if the SAVE Act is passed, it will never be able to come into fruition for anything good by the time the midterms get here, because it'll be stonewalled and held up in court, and all these states and these judicial areas, they'll put pauses on everything. It'll never happen now. So even if they do pass it, it won't matter.
Because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or can't get elected any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo voter ID. How simple is that? Could I have your photo, please? Photo voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel if you're going away on business or vacation. These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow.
Now watch all the numbers for those qualifications, like being sick or traveling, stuff like that. Those numbers, if this does go through, those numbers are going to skyrocket. You watch what I tell you. There should be no mail-in ballots at all. If you want to vote, get a paper ballot at the polling location, show your ID, and vote right then and there. No mail-in ballots, none at all. No exceptions. That's just my opinion.
I'll call your representatives in the House and Senate and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
So my thing is that he's talking about pass the Save America Act. That should have been passed months ago. All right. They're not worried about the SAVE Act. They're not worried about that. But the thing that I don't like is that how you've got politicians that are more worried about pushing the National Defense Authorization Act through and having the provisions in there to merge our military with It's Not Real's military. I can't even say the name of the place on stream without being shadow banned, but you can read between the lines. It's not real. They'll vote to put that through the House. Yeah, it's dead in the Senate, but that's only because Democrats actually grew a backbone for once. But that doesn't mean that this is like an endorsement for Democrats. No. I will never vote for a Democrat, ever. I would rather not vote at all than vote for a Democrat. But my whole thing is that they've had all this time to pass the SAVE Act and do something about the fraud that we all know exists in our election system, and they keep kicking the can down the road. Why? Because I think that there are politicians on both sides, Republicans and Democrats, we all know they benefit from it. It's not just one side. They all benefit from it. So why would they end something that they benefit from? And then if there's actually an honest election, they could be out. Why would they put that through?